Well, hey everybody, it's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm looking forward to guiding you through today's Yin Yoga practice. Thanks for showing up a couple minutes early, giving you a few minutes to just gather any props that you might want for today's practice. We're going to start off in Sukhasana in a comfortable, easy seated position of your choice. If sitting on the floor, with legs crossed is challenging for you, consider bringing a block or a towel or something such that it'll allow those knees to fall down gently and you can start to create some space in your hips. Right, Fred? I do recommend having a strap today. We're going to be doing tiger pose, which is going to involve reaching behind us for our foot from the floor. If that sounds too much for you, go ahead, bring a strap. And if you don't have a strap, you're just going to do the best that you can with the body that you have today because flexibility is totally learned. So just creating some sort of reach is enough. That won't be our longest hold. We got a lot of shorter holds today. We're going to get started in 1 minute. I'm going to go find my other timer. I do encourage you to have water nearby. We won't have any water breaks as a group, but as always, you are encouraged to have water as you need it. All right, all right, all right. Okay, give me just one moment. But if you're ready, I encourage you to take that seat on the floor, any seated position that feels right for you. Maybe legs crossed, maybe legs wide open. Maybe you're taking a kneeling position to get started. Just want to make sure everything is streaming properly before we get started. So logging back into the system. There I am. Great. All right, Uncle Buck. Do me a favor and be well behaved today, if you just don't mind. Okay, so here we are on the floor, starting in an easy seated position of your choice, Sukhasana. We're going to be here for just about 3 minutes. Start to take this time, make any adjustments that you need with your costume right now. And do your best as we change asanas to come into the stillness as quickly as possible. So work to eliminate the fidgeting, start to relax your breath, your body, your mind. Thank yourself for just showing up today. Take these first few minutes to really notice how your body is feeling, starting with the scan from the top of your head, from the tip of your hair, all the way down to your toes. Does anything feel tight, tense, crunchy, unhappy? Does anything feel so amazing? We don't have to just focus on negative feelings. Let's notice where we feel positive as well. Remember throughout this class that if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. We're going for stillness of the total body and in our breath. So either finding one spot to focus your eyes to relax your mind, or simply closing them and doing your best to create the shapes as I described. Check in with your shoulders. If they're creeping all the way up towards your ears or if they've rounded forward, roll them down and back. Take that proud lift of that chest, of your chest. Draw your belly button back towards your spine so that your lower back can feel good as you sit here. And feel free to apply some pressure into your hands palms to help you keep this lift. We're going to be here for one more minute. Let's enjoy it in silence. I hope that you found that stillness for the last minute, that you were able to slow your breath down just a little bit. Next up, we're going to move into a forward fold. You're welcome to stay seated on your prop if that's what feels right for you. I'm going to remove this prop from underneath. Get a little bit more range of motion. I'm bringing those hands in front of you. It's your choice if you want to stay lifted, keep that heart lifted, keep a nice long flat back, or if your back's feeling really good once you found that lifted length, you can always allow that chin to tuck towards your chest, your head to hang heavier towards the floor, fingers to stretch forward, maybe forearms come down towards the mat. Keep your sit bones rooted. Let that be the guide in your stretch, that you're not coming off of those glutes. We're going to spend about 1 minute folding forward, and then we'll reach to each side. So one of my favorite things about yoga is really working to take the practice from on the mat into the real world. And Yin is one of my favorite classes for that. I jest to friends that it's great for both, playing a really intense game of hide and seek with any friends that you might have. Um, it's good for helping you to fall asleep at night. It's also a great practice if you are in a meeting and someone says something, to find a way not just to hold your tongue when someone says something crazy, but also to keep your face relaxed so that you don't show your emotions as much. Let's go ahead and reach all the way over to one side. Still pressing through the opposite side. Sit bone, get a nice stretch through the side of the body. So it's normal as you're practicing this and any other class for outward thoughts to come to your mind, for things that aren't the right here, right now. And I encourage you to just take a moment and honor whatever comes to your mind and then let it know, hey, this is my time. And return to your stillness. And if you have trouble clearing your mind, focus on your breath. Take the time to really tune into how many seconds it takes on your inhale, of feeling that breath expanding your rib cage, making it all the way down towards the diaphragm, and then how many seconds does it take on your exhale? And that's a great way to just be present right here, right now. Take your time, carefully make your way over to the opposite side body stretch. Still grounding through the sit bones of where your hands are not. So while you're working to create a noticeable stretch, you also just want to make sure that your stretch is not so deep that it is inhibiting your amazing, deep, beautiful breaths. If you find that a stretch is so intense that you have to change the way that you're breathing, come out gently. Allow your breath to be the guide into your stillness and the depth that you take today. Awesome. Go ahead, walk back through to center and then pull yourself forward. Come up onto your knees. We're going to do a little cat cow. I'm going to quickly tuck my shirt in for modesty's sake. Gosh, I hate tucking my shirt in, everyone. I need onesie outfits. Maybe that's what I need in 2022. All right, so hands, palms right underneath of your chest. Go ahead, gently turn your hands out uh, a little. So instead of having your middle finger pointing towards the top of the mat, middle finger is kind of at like not quite a 45-degree angle, but think about as your fingers are spread that your pointer finger lines up with the edge of your mat instead of that middle finger. And then go ahead, give yourself a couple cat cows. You got 1 minute of free range movement right here. Ooh, so good. Maybe you hold out in cat or you hang out in cow for a little bit longer, just honoring what feels right for your body today. Next up, we're going to go for a big shoulder opener. So your choice what side you'd like to start with. Keep one hand down. Go ahead, inhale the opposite arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Allow your eyes to look up for those fingertips. And as you exhale, bring the back of your hand down towards the mat and your shoulder down towards the floor. You can bring your temple down towards the floor as well, and then do whatever feels right with your opposite hand. Maybe it stays right underneath of where your chest had been to give you a little bit of support. Maybe you walk it forward, bring your armpit a little closer towards the mat. Maybe you inhale it up and then reach towards your hip and open all the way towards the sky. I'm going to simply keep my hand here on the mat for a little bit of support and just gently shift a little bit more weight. I'll go back into my shoulder during this delightful shoulder stretch. Take your time. Let's carefully come out. Send that arm all the way up towards the ceiling once more. Push into the hand palm that's on the floor. And then exhale, release your hand back down towards the mat. Give yourself one cow, one cat. Return to that neutral tabletop. So your core is engaged, your shoulder blades are squeezed towards each other. Opposite hand palm stays down. Inhale the other hand up, and then exhale, send it on through. Ooh, thread the needle. Do what feels right for the opposite arm stretch on this side. I know that my shoulder has been feeling tight. I'm just going to keep my hand palm right here, supporting myself in the stretch. But remember, you can walk your hand forward. You can send your arm up towards the ceiling, bring your fingertips towards your glutes, and then trace them up your back to get a little bit more of a spine twist in with your shoulder stretch. Just be kind to your body. Let that breath be your guide. Find your stillness and breathe. Let's carefully come out. Send your arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring your hand palm back down towards the floor. Take a moment. Come into just a kneeling position. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm feeling real itchy. So I'm going to take a sec to scratch it out, but I encourage you to just take a second in your stillness. Oh, hopefully you didn't hear that dateline pop up when I touched my earbud. Give yourself a couple circles with your wrists. Just want those wrists to feel really good. Because we're going to come back into a tabletop position. Next up, we're going for gate latch pose. I'll just turn sideways in case you need a visual. All right, so once again in tabletop, hands palms right underneath of the shoulders. I have that gentle little turnout of my wrist, but my elbow creases, I'm shining in towards each other. Go ahead, send your leg out to the side. I'm starting with my right leg. I'm bringing the big toe down towards the floor. And then exhale to bring the heel in line with the big toe. Work to press the outer edge of your foot onto the floor, and we're just going to stay here in a modified gate latch pose. No need to lift ourselves up or find any extra stretch, but you should feel a nice big stretch along your inner thigh. We're hanging out here for another full minute. So find that one spot to relax your eyes down on the floor. If you're having any pain in your wrist, you can always switch to fists down on the mat instead of hands palms. So placing those knuckles down on the mat can be a lot easier on your wrist for our last minute here on this side of gate latch pose. Continue to focus on pressing the outer edge of your pinky toe towards the floor. And this will increase the stretch that you feel on your inner thigh. And if the outer edge of your pinky toe doesn't quite come to the floor today, that's okay. Just do your best. Be as mindful as possible to have that foot straight. Great work. Carefully bring that leg back in. We're going to switch it out. Opposite leg steps out. So bring the big toe to the floor. Exhale, bring your heel towards the floor. And then work to press the outer edge of the pinky toes down to the mat. Just do your best. This is our first somewhat longer hold in a significant stretch today. So remember, it's really normal in Yin Yoga to feel like some trembling or some shaking. Maybe you start to feel a little bit of buzzing. One of my favorite things is as we start to really tune into our stillness and our breath, noticing your heartbeat, and maybe you can even feel your freshly oxygenated blood just pumping throughout the body, helping to break down any scar tissue, helping to clear out our negative thoughts and feelings as we focus on being proud of ourselves for showing up today and sticking with our breath. Last couple breaths right here. You know, I'm afraid of my former grad school statistics professor, and in my mind, a couple literally must always mean two. So go ahead, bring those legs back in. You can open your knees nice and wide, send your glutes back towards your heels, walk your arms forward as much as feels comfortable for you as we come into an extended child's pose. I like to use a prop during my extended child's pose, so I'm just going to place this block right underneath of my head. That way, while we hang out here for a little bit longer than you might usually, you don't have to feel all of the blood drain into your head, or maybe you want to. One of the great things about yoga is it's like being a kid again, getting kind of silly and, maybe losing your balance and falling down, just challenging your body to try different things. You're welcome to have your arms extended as far forward as you would like, and being mindful of my limited range of motion and keeping a gentle bend in the elbows here. We got 2 minutes left. I do have to apologize if you hear the dog crying in the background. Uncle Buck is being a real trooper, but still very much in recovery from his dental surgery and his switch to soft foods. If you extended your arms all the way out in front of you, walk them back in. Let's go ahead, press ourselves back up into tabletop. Okay. And have your strap nearby for this next one, especially if you feel like your mobility is slightly limited. I'm excited. We're going to go for tiger pose. So starting off once again in tabletop, we're going to work in opposite. So opposite hand and opposite foot are going to extend. So we're starting off in bird dog. And as you come into this bird dog, I really want you to think as we begin about making sure that you're not turning your hip out towards the side. So hips are currently squared down towards the floor. Now, if you know that you don't really have much in that range of motion, you can always pause for a moment and put the strap on your extended foot. I encourage you to just do your best right here, though. We're going to reach our arm that's in front of us towards the wall behind us. And then you're going to go ahead and bend your leg and work to bring your hand into your foot. Maybe you can touch it today. Maybe you're just reaching. We've got 1 minute right here. If you grabbed hold of your foot from the pinky toe edge, we're going to squeeze our glute and kick that heel up towards the ceiling, finding a big opening of our chest and shoulder, a big opening in that hip as well. You're more than halfway through. Find that one spot to just focus your eyes on the floor. And if you lose your balance and fall out, come back in. Really push into your hands, palms for 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Carefully release. One cat, one cow. Back to that neutral tabletop. Go ahead, extend your opposite leg and opposite arm. Taking a moment here in bird dog, Push into your hand palm. Back is engaged. Core is drawn in nice and tight. You can hang out right here. You can stay here. Or you can choose to gently join me as we reach this opposite arm back. And then bend the leg. Can you bring your hand and your foot to meet each other? Press into the palm of the hand on the floor and squeeze your glute. The knee gently lifts, toes pointing up towards the ceiling. We got a total of 1 minute right here. You're going to do your best. If you need to, you can always come back into bird dog. Just breathe in. Finding that squeeze of the glute to lift the heel. Really making sure that lower half of the body is engaged. You got just a couple breaths left right here. Now that means 2. Last one. Carefully release. Send that arm out once again, pass through bird dog, and then exhale. Bring your hand down towards the floor. We're going to gently lower our chests all the way down to the floor. Ooh, great work. And let's find a big opening of those shoulders again right here. Go ahead, extend one arm out to the side. I got my left arm out to the side. I'm bringing my right hand close towards the chest. We're going to roll over onto the left hip. You're just rolling over as much as feels right for your body today. Relax your head down on the floor. You can increase the stretch that we're getting throughout this extended arm by opening up the clamshell of your legs or even reaching your top hand towards the wall behind you. Maybe you pet your super needy dog. Just breathe. Try to melt that upper body into the mat as much as you can. Notice if you're just like holding any tension in your chest. Remember the game plan here is relaxation. We'll spend 1 more minute in this awesome shoulder opener, little chest stretch. All right, if you extended your arm behind you or moved it anywhere away from where your palm had started on the floor, bring that palm back towards the mat and support yourself. Close those legs if you clamshelled. Roll back over onto your belly and let's switch arms. Wow. Opposite arm extends, keeping your hand palm in line with your shoulder. Draw your formally extended hand back in towards your chest. Roll onto the side of the body. And I do wonder where that dog went. Cool. We are spending 2 minutes here from right now. Remember, you can clamshell your legs. You can reach that top arm behind you. I'm not going to reach the top arm behind me on this side because it doesn't feel good. And you got to do what feels right for your body. Both sides of the body are not the same. Do remember that if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. So work to relax right here, right now. I just want to assure you, I know that I do my best to really find the stillness here, but it is not always easy. Whether there's like an itch on your nose, or you hear the ding of an email, things that you just like want to tend to immediately. But we're telling our monkey mind no. We are resisting the instant gratification that we're so accustomed to these days. And if not, then, we come back to the stillness as quickly as we can. A few more breaths here. Take your time. Let's carefully bring that hand back in if you moved it anywhere else. Bring your legs back together. Roll onto your belly once more. Bring your hands, palms underneath of your chest. Tuck your toes under. Take a moment. Send those hips all the way up towards the ceiling. We're passing through down dog. But feel free to pedal through those heels. Bring a little love to your calves. We don't really have a lot of calf stretching through today's class. How much can you bring your belly towards your thighs? Can you really push into your hands, palms? Create a little extra space of shoulders away from ears, and then relax and release your knees back down towards the floor. Let's sit ourselves up, and we're going to come into half dragonfly. So kicking one leg forward. I really don't know if that audio comes on when I touch my ears, but I clearly listen to way too much Dateline NBC. All right, so we're coming into half dragonfly. So one leg is extended. I have the opposite sole of my foot touching my inner thigh bicep, but yours doesn't have to come in quite as close if you do not want it to. We've got 2 minutes right here. Maybe you have your hands behind you for a little bit of support. Maybe you're increasing the stretch by gently folding forward. Coming up next is just this nice focus on our lower body, but we do have one more little chest stretch we're going to work in there too. Come back to the scan of your body from head to toe. We're 30 minutes into the class, and just notice, are you feeling any different? Do you feel proud? Is that something that's flowing through your veins right now? Do you feel a little bit more open? I hope you answered yes to at least one of those questions. Can you breathe so quietly that you hear your heartbeat? All right. Next up, we're coming into a 90-90 stretch. So maybe you separate the tightness of your legs a little bit. Do your best to bring both legs into a 90-degree angle. If you can't get your back legs glued all the way to the floor and your strap is still nearby, maybe you even just tuck your folded strap underneath of your bum for a little bit more support. Or when you draw that leg in a little bit closer So it's a little less 90-90. It brings a little bit more stretch towards the quad, towards the outer thigh, and can help you get your glute down towards the floor. We got 1 more minute here. All right, so we're going to keep our legs right where they are for our last stretch within this position. Bring your bring your hand behind you of your front leg. And we're going to take our opposite hand, get ready to press up onto the knees. Inhale that arm up, reach back for a little modified wild thing, a little hip opener, a little extra bit of a chest opener. We got just about 1 minute here. How many breaths does it take you to get to the end of 1 minute? And on your exhale, carefully lower yourself down. Kick those legs out in front of you. Take a moment, bob your knees, windshield wipe your feet, and then we're going to come into our half dragonfly for the opposite side. Remember, both sides of the body aren't the same, so you're going to do whatever feels right for your half dragonfly on this side, either hands in front of you, or remember, you can have your hands behind you, a little less uh, intense of a stretch in the back of the leg if your hands are towards the back. We've got just about 1 more minute right here. All right, let's come on into our version of 90-90 on this side. So remember, you can use your props to stick under your glute to help that glute find its way towards the floor. I have the inner sole of my foot pressed down towards the mat. The more that I really try to sit in the glute, the more I feel a big stretch through this side of the body. But if that's not working for you, you can always turn it into a little bit more of a spine twist. So just find what works. Just create some stillness right here. What does that mean for you on this side of your body today? We got 1 minute left. Okay, so keep those knees right where they are, whichever direction your knee is pointing. That's the hand that comes behind you this time. Opposite hand is going to inhale all the way up towards the ceiling. Press onto your knees, press onto your shin. Look back towards the wall behind you. I'm gonna bend my elbow to just be safe in my shoulder today. We got just about that 1 minute right here in this big hip opener. In this last little bit of stretch and pressure, we're bringing it to the upper body. Awesome. Take your time. Use that next exhale to carefully lower yourself down. Swing both legs around to one side and lay down on your back. How carefully and slowly can you lower yourself down on the back? Get a little bit of ab work here. Just continuing to move with intention. And when your lower back is glued down, go ahead, draw those knees in towards your chest. Really press your lower back sacrum down into towards the mat. Relax and release shoulders away from your ears. So elbows start to stretch down towards your hips. Feet are relaxed side by side. Stretch to the crown of your head towards the wall behind you. And on your next exhale, go ahead, send the soles of the feet down to the floor. Knees stay bent. Extend your arms out to the side. Press into your feet, roll over to your hips, and come into a spine twist in one direction. Can you keep the opposite shoulder down on the mat? How's your neck feel today? If it feels good, you want to bring it to the party, go ahead, turn and look in the opposite direction of your knees. We'll just spend 1 minute here. A spine twist in each direction. You can have your arms straight. You can goalpost your arms for a little extra stretch. I'm gonna keep my arms straight. This is enough stretch for me. But you can always roll over onto your hip a little bit more to feel it more through your spine. We're just working to keep that opposite shoulder down on the ground. Just past halfway. Take your time, carefully roll onto your back again. Take a moment here, grounding in your back. And then press into your feet. Opposite shoulder stays down as you work to roll onto your hip and come into your spine twist in the other direction. Remember, the more you roll onto your hip, the more you really work to stack those hips, the more you're going to feel that stretch through your spine. So just find what works for you and feel free to bring your neck to the party. All right, roll onto your backs. One more time. Ground that lower back to the floor. Bring the soles of your feet together. Allow those knees to fall heavy out towards the side. If that's too much pressure on your lower back, extend your heels a little further from the center line of your body. Let's spend 1 minute right here with the final little hip opener before we come into our final savasana. While you're here, start that total body scan, head to toe to head. Check in with yourself. Notice how you're feeling as we begin to close out our practice for today. You're welcome to keep your legs here in this reclined Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle, or go ahead, extend those legs out. Do what feels right with your hands, maybe one hand on your heart, one hand on your chest, maybe arms by your side, maybe taking a big stretch of those arms out to the wall next to you. We've got just 2 more full minutes together, but I encourage you to stay here in this final Savasana for as long as you need. And what does that mean? That means that if you're like already fidgeting, if you're looking at your watch, if you're just ready for me to say, and done, then you probably need to stay here a little bit longer. Challenge yourself to work towards the idea, especially if stillness is still a challenge, or with any yoga class, if you are just like racing off of the mat when class ends. Can you spend 3 breaths without moving a muscle? Can you spend 5 breaths without moving a muscle? Just challenge yourself to extend the time and the stillness that you create in all of your postures, not just final Savasana. But please don't think of this one as a throwaway. This is where we're letting our practice sink in. So melt into that mat as much as you can for 1 more minute together. If you would like to close out practice together from a seated position, take your time and make your way back to the seated position of your choice, or continue to just lay here in Savasana. If you came to seated, let's go ahead, inhale those arms up overhead, hands, palms come together, palms touch, and bring your hands down to heart center with your thumbs touching on your chest, sternum. Take a moment, tuck your chin to your chest, and bow to yourself. I'm so thankful you came and joined me for this class today. I honestly can't even tell you how much it means to me when I hear from you all that you take this class, that you appreciate it. So please don't be afraid to send me an email, to leave a comment, to hit like or that caring emoji, because let's just continue to spread those good vibes. And I want you to know that you're not alone, and it makes me feel so much less alone when you do leave a comment. So thank you so much for coming. Thank yourself so much for coming. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I said or we did, reach out till we are together again. Be good to yourself. Think good thoughts. You're worth it. Speak good words. Eat good foods. Do good deeds. Take the time to nourish yourself from the inside out. Know that the light within me honors, sees, and as stated, is so thankful for the light within you. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day. Namaste.